We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned.
We're gonna call it,
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hey, we're back, baby. Yes, hello, and welcome to Series 2 of Don't Believe the Hype, the podcast that's fully committed, no matter what, that's it, we're committed now, tough shit, to doing a deep dive into every song ever recorded by Arctic Monkeys and the fucking Kooks, apparently. Yes, we've covered the first album and the associated era in eye-watering depth, so much so that we need a little break, during which we dropped Series 1.5, covering the Leave Before the Lights Come On single, and now, dirty dance floors and unrequited crushes give way to reflections on fame and all that comes with it. Let's do it. Well, Dan was just knocking shit over and making a racket. No respect here. I get no respect. Let's do it. Era 2, album 2, with me, Nick Lee, and him. He just wanted a jet ski for the remote. Now look at the mess you've made him make. It's Dan Holt. Hello, Dan.
Hello. How are you? But I'm very excited. Series 2.
Yes. Series 2, tour starting. It's just
yeah. Well,
this goes out. It'll be happening.
It's exciting because Series 1.5 didn't quite scratch the itch of the return. It was a bit weird. It was a bit disconcerting. But this is fully back now. We're back and we're not stopping for like 30 odd weeks, maybe. maybe we won't break next time.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah.
We'll just carry on, depending on what happens. It will be Christmas. So, but yeah, it's good to be. It's great to be back with like an exciting. I feel like what people say, I'm dead to me now. I'm on board. Fully on board with this. It was fun while it lasted, but it dragged on a bit, and now we're.
It no longer is. It merely was. Well, if you do want to catch up on episodes, we've got an episode for every track from Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not. Every B-side, we've done the Who the Fuck Are Arctic Monkeys EP. We've done Leave Before the Lights Come On and the covers. We've done Beneath the Boardwalk, and there's been just other miscellaneous episodes in there. So go in the episode description on your podcast player of choice and find all our links there. You can like, subscribe, rate, review, all that, find our social media stuff. But we are back at it. Oh, God, it's so exciting. What are we doing tonight, Dan?
We are covering. I say Barnstormer, but that's a bit too close to the, isn't it? So we're doing Barnstormer, Brianstorm. Try and say that 20 times. Barnstormer, Brianstorm.
Barnstormer. Yeah.
A song that I'm sure we'll get into when we start discussing it. That was extremely exciting the first time we heard it, and was just as exciting listening to it for covering it now. Actually.
We will discuss our first memories of when we heard this, because our first listening of this is linked. So what we'll do, we'll play it and we'll have a chat about it.
Well, do you know what I was just going to say? The interesting thing about this series will be is last series, because of the nature of when it was out and the lyrics, was a lot of stories of our youth. Whereas this series, we were still young when this came out, but the lyrics will bring forward less. Tales. I think it's more a different vibe, isn't it? More completely different discussion. It's going to be interesting.
Despite our efforts, we didn't have to deal with the pressures of fame like the band did at this time. Our life hasn't quite gone on the same trajectory.
Although we can now that we're doing this pod. Anyway, play the clip.
To bless us with your effortlessness, we're grateful and so strange it comforts us. And I wonder, are you putting us under? If we can't take our eyes off the t-shirt and ties combination, well, see you later, innovator. Someone to kiss, someone to kick you. There's nothing that you couldn't slip through. Or at least that's the impression I get. Cause you're smooth and you're wet and she's not aware yet, but she's yours. She'll be saying you music. I imagine that he's there on a page or I rendezvous. Rain means that you'll never be frightened to make them wait for a while. I doubt it's your style not to get what you set out to acquire. The eyes are on fire, you are the unforecasted storm. Oh!
Now it feels like we're back.
Yeah, that's great, that isn't it? Alex's little. It's the era of the black jumper and the chain, which I tried to replicate myself at the time. A lot, yeah. That's all its story is. I just wore that a lot. I didn't look like Alex. So
That's the anecdote.
That's the anecdote. That's all it is. I like Jamie's little white jumper he had on there. He was very sporty.
Yeah, it looks like a sexy cricketer. Well, that I remember that was taken from their appearance on Later with Jools Holland, which was the first episode of series 29 of the show. 4th of May 2007. They were on alongside CSS. Do you remember CSS? Let's make love, listen to death from above. Brian Ferry was on there.
For clearance place.
No, sorry. It's good. Okay, keep hold of that. We'll keep that in. The same episode also featured the Holt Steady, Brian Ferry, and Tony Visconti for a Bowie link.
Very nice.
I noticed it was a weird series. This was of Jools Holland because the following week's episode featured Dizzy Rascal, but obviously they'd already met at this point anyway. But they film. I checked, but they film them on separate weeks. I thought maybe that's how they'd met, doing Later with Jools, but obviously they do it on separate weeks. But there's some you get weird combinations on this show.
Just meet how famous people meet, don't they? Like just out in places that the norms don't go. The Muggles.
The Muggles. And in the same series, there was an episode that featured both Sir Paul McCartney, Bjork was on it, and Adele with her first TV appearance. And the episode prior to that was Kaiser Chiefs and White Stripes.
Bjork, the woman whose podcast was a few places below this podcast in the charts.
The Scandinavian fraud, as I like to call it.
That was. I remember that being airing because it used to be a lot. Season 29.
Season 29, and
we'll get season 29 on this.
What's season up to 9?
We'll get to like 7. I think we'll get to 29. Do you think Arctic Monkeys will keep doing?
I think. I mean, I don't. Are they going to go? Are they going to go full Rolling Stones? Well, we're now up to series 61 of Later Jools Holland, anyway.
Fucking hell, Jesus. With
an Arctic Monkeys special, of course.
Is he sneaking the Hootenanny in as one series though on that, or is he like you, like series 1.5? The Hootenanny.
No, they're separate. They're separate. They are not listed in the series. Yeah,
separate but ever deadly to your social life on New Year's Eve. That's a different pod. What a great little clip of that. It looks quite hard what Nick's playing. I was thinking during that, I was like, oh God, I'd be messing up notes left, right, centre.
You may notice the bass is out. I had a little go at that song before.
Let's give a little shout out to 2 things because people might not have listened. People might have gone, fuck Leave for That's Come On, I'm not interested. And definitely not interested in if you didn't listen to Leave for That's Come On, you weren't tuning in for Put Your Jukes Up, John, and Baby I'm Yours. So we did welcome
numbers suggest that.
Yes, that's why I said it. We did welcome Nick O'Malley into the fold then. However, it was based, as we established, it was based that he didn't write. Andy wrote it, or he may have finessed it, but it's probably similar. So we will now officially welcome Mr. Nick O'Malley to the band, to the first written piece of music that he's contributed.
It is bloody hard to play.
Yeah. What a
playing that without a warm up is. I don't know how they open sets with that at any point because you need a good old warm up to get going with that.
He's just a master, isn't he? He's just a master. Nico Master, they call him.
What a way to announce yourself onto the scene, eh?
And also to announce our, for anyone that wasn't listening last week, our new equipment and sound, which hopefully is much better than it was before for you all, which are lovely subscribers.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they got it for us.
If you want to subscribe, find the link in the episode description for at most £5 a month. Gets you loads of bonus stuff, including early access to extended versions of every episode, Lash and a Puppet stuff, watch-alongs, bonus episode, everything. All the good stuff.
As of now, you're getting the episodes a week early. Now, Week early. So some people will be listening to this on the 17th of May. The lucky buggers. Yeah, shall we? Also, there is some other exciting news. I was going to say let's do the first round here, the information action ratio, but some other exciting news, isn't there, about that, Nick?
Yeah, I've thought I'd just jazz it up a bit with some new jingles.
Well, it's the same jingles. Don't get people too excited.
It's the same old shit. Don't worry about that. It's the same old shit, but we've rolled it in some glitter. Is what we've done. So we've got
and
jingles.
I don't know what these are going to be. These change ups. I don't even know what you mean. I don't know if you mean you've selected different clips that do that bit of the song, or whether you've just judged up the ones we already had. So it's going to be exciting. I'm in your shoes, listener. I'm in your shoes, so I'm going to be. So should we do the information action ratio?
Yes, you're in
dancing
listener shoes. Let's
Don't
hope
talk about
no
that. That's dead to us now.
Yeah, dancing shoes never happened. You're dead to me. Dancing shoes is not traditional. Right, let's hit it with the information action ratio, shall we?
The information action ratio. Ain't that the place to go?
Is that not just a...
Oh, that was very nice. That was brand spanking new, right? That was
that was late
recent.
night Berlin. That
Oh, very topical at the minute, since it's tour time baby.
Yeah. In Germany as well.
Achtung, baby. That terrible album. That was far too quick.
I don't even know why that's. Do you reckon that's what happened when like Bono came in the studio? He was like, "All right, lads, I've got a name for the album, so I have." Like, got it, Achtung, baby. And then Ed just starts laughing. So what are you laughing at? Your name's the Edge. What you even know when to laugh at anyone? Oh god.
Oh god, I don't know why that was so funny. Cops in over that. But no, I very much like that. Very much like that jingle. Because I do like that new arrangement. It's a bit like, it's a nice little bit. Reminds me of that. Reminds me a bit of that Stroke song. The it starts with like a drum machine. It's like
yeah. It's not the end as no end. Hard to explain.
Yes, reminds me of Hard to Explain a bit. That was hard to explain what it was. Whoa. Right, so play it again, play jingle again, and I'll come straight in with it. Why not? You've heard it, let's hear it again. Go on then. Why not? It's the first time.
I mean, it's not like I've already listened to it like 60 times. I'm bored of it already. Yeah, that's my problem, innit? Let's play it again.
The information action ratio. Ain't that the place to go?
Go. Brianstorm was released on the 2nd of April 2007 as the band's first single for Favourite Worst Nightmare, which was recorded in December 2006. So they cut the album out in December. It was on your shelves by April. Superstars. It's 2 minutes and 52 seconds long and has 186 million streams on Spotify. It is produced by new regular James Ellis Ford. We'll be saying that a lot. And old faithful Mike Crossy was back for this one as well. Alan Moulder, yeah. Alan Moulder was on
along with Dancing Shoes.
No, he's back. He's back. He's got the crack. It's Mike Crossy. Alan Moulder was on the mixing, and George Marino was mastering. More on those boys in the weeks to come, I'm sure, when we've got lighter weeks of information on tracks that are less relevant, which was what you might have noticed last season. It is 165 beats per minute and is in the key of C sharp major.
Wrong key though.
Other key tracks in C sharp major are Ed Sheeran with I See Fire. I wish it was the last thing you'd see, Ed, and I sincerely mean that. A bit mean that one. It's everybody's favourite child prodigy. No, not that nonce. No, not that druggie. No, not that murderer. Bloody hell, it's Beethoven, of course, with Piano Trio number 2. I'm going highbrow to get the Radio 4 listeners for this series, apart from the nonce stuff, obviously. And it's Shakira with Hips Don't Lie. Well, no one's eating a jar of jam, apparently. If you know, you know. Fucking Inspector Shakira over there. It has been played live 656 times. Wow. Firstly, on February 10th, 2007 at the Leadenmill, Sheffield, right, first cracked out. And lastly, at time of recording, I should stress, because we are recording this in advance, so it is currently the 2nd of May, people listening. So at time of recording, it was last played on the April 30th, 2023 at the Oslo Spectrum. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say,
It's probably being played right now as we speak.
well, probably, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it has last been played live on the 10th of May at the Accor Arena, Paris. I think we can safely go with that. It's not coming out of the set, is it? Which will actually mean that it's been played live 663 times altogether when you hear this. So I'm covering all the bases there. Unless you're listening in the future outside of this next album tour, well, I can't account for that, kind of. It debuted at number 21 in the UK singles chart via downloads alone. The single was then released in physical formats on the 16th of April, the week before the album release, and charted at number 2 on the UK singles chart behind Beyonce and Shakira's Beautiful Liar. Did she think that PK was a beautiful liar in the end, Shakira? or Jay-Z for that matter. Beyonce, you're covering the single.
It's JZ. It's pronounced JZ. We're English.
Is it? No,
we're English. We don't say Z.
Don't. We should call it like Beyonce then, shouldn't we? Beyonce.
We should. All right, Carl Pilkington.
In Scotland, the song became the band's 4th consecutive number 1 single, Hey Up the Scots, and is one of the band's most successful singles worldwide, reaching number 4 in Denmark, number 7 in Ireland, and number 10 in Spain. It also reached number 9 in Belgium, Ultra Tip Flanders chart. I'd just like to say congratulations to the first European player to win a snooker tournament in the UK from Belgium this week. That was also in the Belgium. if anyone listening is that fucking dull,
I don't think he's listening. He's probably drinking himself around Sheffield like he did during the tournament.
I just mean anyone else that already knew that it's not a sport. It's boring as fuck. Belgium, Wallonia, it charted at number 13. Maybe. It charted at number 53 in the Canadian Hot 100, which is odd because Leave For Lights Come On was like, as we discovered last week, if you bother to listen, was number 3 or 4 in that chart that week. So it's odd that Leave For Lights Come On would be so high, but this wouldn't. Very strange. And then number 38 in the Canada Rock Billboard chart. Number 4 in Denmark. Number 8 in the Euro chart Hot 100. It's quite high. Number 44 in France, so they weren't on the Arctic's train yet. Number 64 in Germany. Oh, way off. They're like one of the biggest places now for Arctics to perform. So there you go. Germany. When Germany. I'm intrigued to see when Germany are going to start to jump on the Monkeys bandwagon.
I think it was humbug. I think is that humbug? Yeah.
If Achtung Baby wasn't enough, now I've heard that as well.
Humbug baby.
Number 28 in Italy, number 36 in the Netherlands, number 73 in Switzerland. As we said, number 2 in the UK, but number 1 in the UK indie chart, and number 14 in the US Bubbling Under Hot 100 singles chart, which I assume is like basically 101.
It's a chart of music that you listen to in a jacuzzi.
I thought before you open champagne. It was also used on the Colbert Report, The Daily Show, and Late Night with Conan O'Brien during the final weeks of the 2007-2008 Writers Guild strike, which I remember very well, in which it is played during a showdown between the three. Is it? God, I got paid enough.
It's in the age of social media now, so it's going to be
actually there's someone who wants to be a writer. Yeah, good on you. That's right. Get more money.
Don't worry, James Corden will be going in to go against him like he did a couple of years ago.
Done now, isn't he? It's over, baby. He's coming back over here to ruin our television sets.
Dead.
Oh God, no! I wish. No, he's just quit, and he's quit that show. It's done. He did the last one the other night.
We want them all dead tonight.
Yeah, I want Alex to be hosting every show possible and be the only person making music preferred, please. Yep. Yeah. Shall we have a little clip at the Colbert Report, Daily Show, and Late Night with Conan O'Brien clip with Brianstorm?
Let's do it.
Suckers! No!
Strange head, Conan, hasn't he? Very odd.
Yeah.
Great great. Getting used there. He's probably got some big bucks for that being used on 3 different networks and for 3 different shows at the same time. The track is also featured in the rhythm video game Guitar Hero 5, and it is considered to be one of the hardest tracks on drums due to its sporadic tom-tom beats. Now, I can attest to this. I had this on the drums, and particularly if you cracked it on expert, it was fucking impossible to play this. Did you ever play it? Did you ever play this on the Guitar Hero 5? It was insane.
You know what? I used to love Guitar Hero. I had Rock Band. I had Beatles Rock Band, which was absolutely awesome. And then one day I was meant to be going round to my mate's house for lunch. He wasn't answering his door for ages. Knocked louder and louder. He finally answered the door in a t-shirt and his underpants, holding this little plastic guitar, and genuinely said the words, "Oh, just come on in, I'm having a jam." It's like, no, you are not. You are not having a jam. It's total fucking marmalade.
Having a jam. I'm surprised they didn't have the option on it to create your own music using it. People just creating shit music on there. Imagine that. But I always thought this was on Rock Band, not what it was Guitar Hero, because Rock Band was the one that had the drums, but then Guitar Hero must have followed suit, I guess. Brought all stuff out. But I just remember having it and having the drum kit. I borrowed the drum kit off someone, I think, and because I always preferred the drums. I always shit at the guitar one for some reason. Shit at the guitar anyway, I guess. But the drums are quite like that. But this on expert was impossible, and I think we got a little clip. Obviously, again, this would be better for video subscribers, but
subscribe now.
Yeah, but this is someone doing the expert on Guitar Hero, which looks insane, even more insane than I remember it being.
It gave me a headache. Let's have a look.
That is mental.
Yeah.
I could not.
Some people need to get a life to be honest.
You could just learn the song on drums. It looks like it's pretty similar to the actual.
That's it. The amount of times when people dedicate to this game, you could just learn an actual instrument.
I feel like we're commentating the football, like sort of hear like a crowd and hear you talking. Yeah, I mean, it's impressive that you can do this, but ultimately, for what game?
That's absolutely upset me, that has.
That is, I mean, difficult, lemon, difficult. That's what that looks like. But again, for what game to try? I'm glad I didn't spend a lot of time trying to do it. I mean, I think I did. I think I couldn't even do it on easy. I don't think. Never mind the fucking expert one. It's impossible. But yeah. If anyone's, I don't know, go out and buy it if you want to do it. I guess if it's still available. I don't know. Brianstorm made its way into the Urban Dictionary. Did you know? Made its way into the Urban Dictionary. Official description is.
Not a sexual thing, is it? Because most things on there are.
It's not actually. It's when a dyslexic. God, it's really mean spirited. When a dyslexic.
Like where this is going.
When a dyslexic or a group of dyslexics. I can't even say it. When a dyslexic or a group of dyslexic. If you can't say dyslexic,
you're really into the dyslexic hole, aren't you?
When a dyslexic or a group of dyslexics attempts to create solutions to a problem by spontaneously suggesting ideas. I think the joke is there because Brainstorm, but Brianstorm because they're dyslexic. Yeah. It's a bit mean-spirited, that, isn't it? Yeah.
The second best dyslexic joke ever. The first being when you have graffiti that says "Dyslexics untie." Like Dyslexic Unite, isn't it? I'm a big fan of that. Yeah,
very nice.
Sorry to all the dyslexics out there.
No. Carry on.
To the wrong podcast, won't they? They'll be listening to the official one accidentally.
So on the single for this, it's the second track. The first track is "If You Found This, It's Probably Too Late." And I was trying to think of other examples where the single isn't the first track, and I was going to do a bonus round based off it, but it was ungoogleable. Like as a sentence to find that out.
I also looked for this,
but I couldn't think of anything. It might be one of a kind. Because the single is normally the lead track, isn't it? But
it's a strange one.
It wouldn't make sense for Brianstorm. Then, if you found this, it's probably too late. It does work as an opening, and it's only like 1 minute 20 or something, is it? They found this is probably so if that. So it's like yeah, it does make sense. But yeah, I found this is probably too late. Brianstorm, Temptation Greets You Like Your Naughty Friend, and then is it What If You're Right First Time? That's the fourth one.
If you're right first time,
Which we'll get to eventually in 12 weeks. Oh well, we'll get to that in 15 weeks, but still. 3 months and 3 weeks. Where will we be then now? Yeah.
We've had dyslexia and dyspraxia in the space of 2 minutes there.
We have got a Ghost Cookies, though. Did you do a new Ghost Cookies jingle? You can't do a new one, can you?
You can, yeah. From all the other clips
again
of him telling that joke.
Yeah, just for us.
All right.
Video footage of him telling it at every party that year.
Oh, let's play them.
You could say they're selling like ghost cookies.
Okay, so United Kingdom specific still. This may include streaming. The notice said it does include streaming as well. That the others all said that, but didn't because it wasn't the thing yet. But it said that this got to number 2. Yeah, from not number 2. That was number 2 when the physical came out. It was number 21 off the streamers, so they didn't get it that far. Just the streaming, because streaming was that would have been like iTunes, wouldn't it? Buying it on iTunes,
iTunes and nothing else, yeah.
Yeah. So it would and you would have had to pay 79p for it. It wasn't like streaming is now. You pay and buy it. So yes. So I take that with a pinch of salt and think mainly on it got to number 2 with the physical. Shakira, Beyonce, number 1.
I'm going 350,000 based on what we've had for other tracks. The other tracks that went to number 1 in particular.
Well, was one of them wasn't like Dance for like 1.5 million or something?
Yeah, but we weren't sure whether that was overall or just.
No,
like,
it was. This is like that time.
Oh,
I think
750,000 then. 750,000.
600,000. So not bad.
I was closer.
You were kind of perfectly in between it with both answers. So
Thanks, mate.
Something in that. 600,000. It went platinum in the UK. So there you go. That's it. So pretty successful. It's a shame it didn't get to number 1. Really, bloody Beyonce, bloody Shakira. To do some reviews.
Looking at my breasts so small and humble, so you don't confuse them with mountains. Yes, let's do the reviews and the new jingle for reviews as well.
Oh yeah, go on, exciting! I forgot about that.
New jingle. Yeah. We don't have to play this one twice though, so make sure you get everything you need from it the first time, will you?
Oh, my pants are off.
Fucking finish. Won't it?
Do you think there's anything in the fact that I've just noticed that most of our jingles come from the sort of Tranquility era? No, they don't, do they? Actually, that's not.
No, just those 2.
Yeah, they come from like post AM though, don't they? Era, all of them. Interesting, perhaps. Maybe not interesting at all.
No, they don't, because we've got Bakery as one, haven't we?
Oh, we do. I forgot about that, and we've got Suck It and See as one. Yeah,
I'll have to get thinking, and we've got the wrong key as well.
No, we've also got Suck It and See as well.
Yes.
So yeah, forget about it. I'm chatting shit.
It's
been so long. It's been so long that I forgot. But right, we're gonna have to do the reviews jingle again. No, I'm joking. That was a very good reviews jingle, though. I liked it. I look forward to hearing it again.
Made it myself
next week, which won't be next week for us. It'll be in bloody 2 days, so I don't have to wait that long. Do I? Sputnik Music said, "Brianstorm is a gem. Magnificently witty and entertaining lyrics. The Arctic Monkeys are known, which the Arctic Monkeys are known for, correct? Clocking at just under 3 minutes, the listener has more time to absorb and enjoy the song." Think about that. The songs are a little bit longer on this album, perhaps, so maybe there's a little more time to enjoy them. The Skinny, however, gave it just 3 stars. The first thing to notice about the Monkeys' first effort from their fast-approaching sophomore long player is a slightly heavier sound to their norm. However, its fugazi-light opening soon gives way to a familiar Monkeys hook, and Brianstorm becomes something altogether more recognizable. The lyrics appear a pithy critique of a certain contemporary type, and in being so, are more or less in keeping with what we've come to expect. This isn't entirely bad, even if Turner's vaguely self-righteous reverse snobbery is starting to grate. Speak for yourself.
Ooh. I'm doing a review of the Skinny next week. That'll show him. 17 years on.
Not worth it, mate. Not worth it. Honestly, I've looked at it. Dreadful.
Oh,
There's just no other reviews available, unfortunately. I thought there would be for this, but you know, I call the Skinny my bottom of the barrel reviews when there's nothing else available. So there you go. There you go. We got them
even
back.
NME weren't about.
Oh, Enemy, yeah, don't worry. Of course they are.
Okay.
Enemy. We've always got the Enemy greatest songs list. To fall
Hell
back
was
on, if
freezing
nothing
over
else.
them.
Hell does. Enemy placed at number 15 in their greatest Arctic song lists, number 15, saying Brianstorm is a fucking blast. Every adrenaline-filled riff, every leery image and unsettling pause is unleashed at a pace reckless enough to floor you. A point driven home by the way this scrappy indie rock belter rumbles and ends with a thunderous boom. It's the type of tune that can leave you breathless while trying to relish it all in the moment. There you go. I said them for last. They always pick it back up. Well, Enemy, yeah. Bad word to say that, we'll give that. Although they did it for Humbug, I believe, but they soon changed the tune with all that, didn't they? I think it got 7 or 6 or something. But yeah, more on that after season 3.
Do you remember where you first heard this song then? It was at Zane Lowe on Radio 1, wasn't it? With the first play at 7
It was 7 p.m. A Wednesday, I think.
Wednesday, yes. We just finished working a shift together, you and I believe.
We had, but I was working still because I used to work in the day and I finished at 9. And I went up to get my break at 7. You were walking home. I think you were at a bus stop, if I remember correctly.
I was nearing my home.
I want you up. What time's the bus come? And we can't bring that up again. And I had a headphone in the canteen, and I remember Zane saying, "This is the new Achtung Monkey song," playing it. Me going for 3 minutes, and then it stopping, and Zane being speechless and saying, "I'm just going to play it again." And he just went straight into it and played it again, didn't he? Straight away. So, because I think it wasn't what I was expecting. It wasn't what any of us were expecting. Even Zane, although he probably already heard it, it was from Dramatics, but still, when he first heard it, I'm sure. But I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting, but it certainly wasn't something as, I don't use the word heavy because it quickly, I guess it was heavier to an extent, but I wouldn't, it was just more in your face and ferocious than I anticipated, perhaps, based off the first album. Even though that was very that way, though. So I don't know why, but it was just nothing like what I thought it was going to be. In a good way. Good way.
I really wanted to discuss our reaction, like our memories of when we first heard it, because this was one of those. I think we almost take it for granted. This is one of those once in a lifetime moments where a band has had this stratospheric rise that no one anticipated, and then you're waiting to see what they did next. Obviously, I was slightly too young for experiencing that with Oasis, which was probably the last band that happened to where the second thing was so anticipated. So it was just, and then it is just a full-on assault on the senses from the very start. It's just straight away. It's almost. You know, when even now, if I've got my headphones on and it comes on shuffle, I'll still do a bit of a Jesus. Get the shit out of that. What are you doing?
It was. Do you know what you know what one of the things was actually in my reactions was I said it in the last series that I never fully appreciated the drums first time around in that era in the moment, apart from Viewing Afternoon maybe, and then. When I heard this, because I think I immediately got hold of a rip on LimeWire of it straight off the BBC or whatever you could do back then to get it. And I was just listening to it, not great quality, over and over again that night. And I think it was the drums that really struck me as like, wow, these are amazing. And then going back and listening to the first album, going, oh, they were fucking amazing the whole way through. I was just too obsessed with Alex and the lyrics to fully give it a credit. Yeah, and but obviously the guitar was shocking, just because you weren't anticipating a. I guess it's, people who like heavy music will go heavy, like heavy metal and stuff, but I just can't think of another word to say it, I suppose. Queens of the Stone Age-y, deserty rock-ish, dirty guitar that I wasn't anticipating. Bass, way off different, because the bass we'd heard so far was very Stone Rosy, that kind of melodic-y bass, yeah. There was nothing about it that I was expecting. And I certainly wasn't expecting the song to open with Brian as the opening lyric. That was definitely not what I was thinking.
Well, for weeks, I assumed when they said they were going to be bringing out this song called Brianstorm, I assumed it was just a typo and it was actually called Brainstorm, because you would, wouldn't you? I mean,
yeah.
Why would you not?
Yeah, I think, did we know the title before? Yeah, I didn't know whether that were under wraps or not. I can't remember.
No, I think Zayn, I think it got teased like a day or two before Zayn played it, and he was, I think Joe Wiley mentioned it, saying Zayn's got the first play of the new Arctic Monkeys track Brianstorm.
Yeah,
it's not like Joe Wiley to get things wrong.
I mean, even to this day, they're the only band that I still do this for, actually. When they have like I did it on my birthday, which was a bloody treat, when Body Paint was on 5, Radio 6. So it might have been Radio 1, Radio 2, something like that. Body Paint was on, getting an exclusive play, and I was going out for my birthday, but I was like, we're going out after 7 when it's played, or whatever it was, going out after that, and sat with the radio on, which I never have the radio on the website through my speakers, waiting for the new Arctic Monkey song to be played. They're I think the only band that I do it for now, really. I just wait until it comes out on streaming for everyone else, I think. But yeah, no, I do remember that fondly. Yeah, and I think we were probably texting, or I probably rang you.
No, you tried to ring me, but I was on the phone to my girlfriend at the time, because she was saying, "Have you heard it?" And I was like,
"Bros before hoes, normally."
I was like,
some would say,
I didn't know
definitely not. Is it? Definitely not. Is it? Any guy that I don't like that phrase. I put that phrase to bed. Any guy that's ever bros before hoes is single eventually, because it don't work like that.
He's referring to women as hoes. I mean,
generally they don't like that, really. What the trick is, you make your hoes friends with your bros, and then it's win-win all the time.
This is how you do it. Can we stop saying hoes?
This is how you do it.
Sex workers.
We're not actually we're talking about normal women, not prostitutes. Bros for hoes.
Normal women.
I don't think we can get cancelled.
Women.
I don't think we can get cancelled for saying a phrase that is well established as a bros for hoes. But I think in Bad Neighbours they say it about 50 times. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be this, mate. I said earlier that I'd like Ed Sheeran to die in a fire, so I don't think it was going to be that. But yeah, no, I do remember that night, and that was one of those. And I have another similar story to tell in the next series. Probably the last time a similar story that I have of this situation as well. Because although I do it now, it doesn't feel as special as it did then. Maybe because I was young. Listening to Body Paint on my 33rd birthday on the thing didn't have the same impact as listening to Brianstorm in the Morrison's Canteen at 18. I don't know why. I don't want to start thinking about that though. I actually edited to this, right? So I was doing a film and TV course at this college in Manchester, and I had to create a promo for the college. So they gave us a lot of footage and say the assignment was to edit promo. And I actually got an instrumental version of Brianstorm and edited the promo to Brianstorm, and it was glorious. And then someone deleted everyone's work by mistake, and I had to do it again. And I was livid. It took me a full 2 days in the editing suite to do it as well. But yeah, so this song, I must have listened to the instrumental version of the song about 3,000 times over 2 days at one point. So there was a while where I didn't like the song anymore. But
the person who deleted it, did you tell them top marks for not trying?
I told them they
not trying to keep hold of the file.
Nah, they weren't on the course very long. They deleted everyone's work by mistake. But yeah, But again, is that what we say? Ferocious, relentless on that first listen, still is. Ferocious, relentless. Just some of the words some of my sexual partners have used to describe
Ferocious, relentless, just some of the words I know.
some of the other sexual partners they've had when they're giving me notes is usually what they're describing. But no, those opening guitars, those kind of opening guitars are very different definitely very different to what we'd heard before. Initially, I think that review said something about it sounds different, but then it does kind of go into a monkey's riff, what you would call, I guess, after that. But those initial guitars are really so. Part of one of the reviews there that I read stated, I took it out and put it in this bit. I think it was the Sputnik review, said that this was. They reminded them the opening guitars of. So they said that the track has no chorus, which I guess is true. In a sense, it just kind of flows, doesn't it? It has a lyrical chorus, but not maybe a musical chorus. Features an ascending guitar duel, which sounds like a cross between Telstar, Mogwai, and the Monkeys' own When the Sun Goes Down, is how they described it. So, I mean, I'm not... Play the Telstar clip. Let's listen to a bit what they mean by this. I'd heard this.
Okay.
Now, drums aside, maybe you could say sounds like the opening to Brianstorm. But I would say, if anything, when I heard that, it reminded me more of like tranquility based stuff. It reminded me more of the organ in that sort of organ opening, you know, that 4 out of 5 organ, that extended version and stuff.
Yeah.
And Last Shadow Puppet's first album, if anything, as well. Nothing at all like Brianstorm. I was like, what are they talking about? I guess they mean the dueling guitars, but I mean, how many songs have dueling guitars? I mean, it's not.
Hello, Libertines. Hello, the Clash.
Yeah, fucking anyone. And then Mogwai, I have to confess, I must confess.
I love Mogwai.
I never heard of them.
Love.
Never heard of them.
Mogwai.
Read it as Mowgli first time round. Never heard of them. I went on Spotify and this was the only song I could find. I went for it. I looked at tracks pre to this album coming out, and this was maybe the closest to Brianstorm to hear what they kind of mean, I thought.
Well, first, when you sent me the email asking me to get the Mogwai clip, I was like, oh God, he's finally making a show for me. And then as soon as, I think after 1 or 2 listens, I thought, yeah, I can see the Brianstorm similarities more.
He's finally making a show for me. Fuck you.
You know what this has all been then?
I do it all for you. Everything I do.
I can't wait for next week when you find like a link between Teddy Picker and Half Man Half Biscuit, and I'm just gonna collapse in a puddle of my own juices. Right, let's have a listen.
I'll make that my mission, shall I?
Yeah, thanks, mate.
I mean,
on the senses again.
Yeah,
that's the biggest similarity, I think.
Yeah, there's no similarity in the sound, but I listened to a few and I couldn't really tell what they were. I think they're specifically talking about ascending guitar duels with the way the guitarists are with the opening of this, but I don't really hear.
Do you think
much.
Do you think maybe that particular reviewer was just trying to show up? Maybe they met some girl and
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I know my music. Look at this review I've written. It's like, oh, I know Telstar, I know Mogwai. Look at me.
I mean, if you were gonna do it, so if you're gonna do that and say this sounds like anything, I mean, because at the time I hadn't really heard much like that before the opening of stuff that I could compare it to. I suppose that opening bit, but again, I said it before, like Queens of Stone Age esque would be the closest anyone I think could say it sounds like. Like, funnily enough, on Spotify when I was listening to this today, it queued up Threes and Sevens straight after by Queen's Stone Age, and I thought, oh, there is something there in terms of the way that they're kind of vibing. So yeah, that opening is more desert rock, Queens of the Stone Age, sort of 90s desert rock stuff. I would say I can't think of anything. That those comparisons would make more sense than the ones that reviewer made, in my opinion. Like with the I mean the Telstar one would be a great one to throw in for 4 out of 5 or something, or like even or Monster Truck front flip or something. That would be a great one to have. But even he would even have a kind of Before Lights Come On style to it. So it was very odd that was the one they chose. But yeah, because it does sound like other Monkey songs, but not this one, unfortunately. The riff that comes in on the guitar, though, as I said, like afterwards, doom, 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 doom. It's like the opening's like, these drums for like I say, desert rock. It's different. You're like, oh wow, but then that's like oh yeah, there it is. That's the identity. That's the Arctic Monkeys that I know. The dun, 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 dun. That's what they do. They do these catchy riffs with hip hop drums, and you kind of you wondered at first where that's gonna be, and then there it is straight away. While we're talking about the actual the opening as well, probably the opening to Live at the Apollo DVD with this is probably one of my favorite openings to a gig ever, I'd say. The way that they come out and then he kind of just puts his hand up, fans blowing him, and then he just with the drum and just starts. Yeah, I love it. Probably is my favorite opening to a gig, like visually. I mean, that I've ever seen.
I do also like what they have now, where they'll play. So like Glastonbury 2013 with Do I Want to Know, and then into Brianstorm. That is just god tier stuff.
I mean, doing it after Sculptures was the next logical step, wasn't it? Really, it made sense.
That's my jam. That's my jam.
Sculptures is very much the Do I Want to Know of this era, I would say, in terms of so it makes sense.
In the words of Shakira, that's my jam.
Oh God! Imagine that as like getting caught cheating because she knows that you don't like jam, but the jar of jam was eaten. Who else has been here? I mean, at what point did he spill the beans? Because you could have covered for that and just gone, oh, right. Dave was
inviting the football lads round.
He loves jam.
Lionel Messi came round and he just really likes jam.
Do you reckon he just started going out underground, and just punched her in the face and ran out of the house and never spoke to her again? I'm not insinuating that he was a domestic abuser. The riff that well, my mind works like that. The riff that the second verse, I did think so because the song doesn't really have a chorus, I guess, does it? It just keeps flowing through, but lyrically he does have that kind of, I don't know, it does have a chorus. It just doesn't change enough like songs do to call it a chorus, does it? It kind of just goes like carries on, but the instruments do change what they're doing. So, and he changes the lyrics. So technically it is a chorus. It's just most songs you change quite a lot for the chorus, but this just kind of subtly shifts, I think, for the chorus of this, isn't it? It just carries on, which is great. But I actually think in the second verse, the guitar comes in and it... That guitar, do you know what I mean? That guitar in the second verse, that actually is very Horrors-esque, actually, I thought, the way that sounds. Speaking of the old Horrors that came on tour with them for this album. Obviously.
Over the years, I'd have that as the Jamie Cook trademark.
What, the little lead that comes in over the...
Yeah. High-pitched bit of lead. That's a Cookie Monster's trademark.
Yeah, that is. There's a lot of that on this album, actually. We'll try and pin that down as much as possible. Then we'll make that this era. From now on, that's the Jamie Cook trademark. We don't actually know who plays that bit, but I'm assuming it will be Jamie. Right? Yeah, because we know from
it's live. So
yeah. But that kind of sound is something they adapt throughout this album. Actually, that Horrors-esque little lead, that kind of atmospheric sound there. But then it's as if the guitar isn't already been incredible. We get to the breakdown. And this song is as well is like the opening and the breakdown here, the guitar and the I said a lot on the first album that I never considered them an indie band, but because of like Dance Floor and stuff, they became known as this big indie fan. And when people that don't like indie automatically don't like them, I always argue the case and go, they're not an indie band. They're like a desert rock hip hop group. Like they're not an indie band. They're not. I mean, that's it. And this song, I think, more than any other, kind of justifies that. I think this is where there's no more indie songs. You could maybe say that Teddy Picker, I guess. No, you see, I wouldn't class it like that. It's Adolescent, maybe, but even then, that's just a melodic song. I wouldn't say. In fact, I can prove that Fluorescent Adolescent isn't indie because there's a song that Fluorescent Adolescent reminds me of a lot, which we'll get to on that episode, which I guess you could say is an indie song, but I wouldn't class that artist as. And I know you take away in your mind, you're thinking, I'm talking about what people have made indie, not what the official definition is of indie. Yeah, I'm talking about the indie landfill, that kind of indie, not the actual proper definition.
This is a conversation we've had several times, and I listen to what you say. Unlike the other person I do a podcast with, who doesn't listen to a fucking word I say, but I've listened to what you said there and taken that into.
I feel like I'm in the middle of a breakup at the minute. Ross and Rachel all over again.
All of the Roman Empire and the breakup of the Beatles.
Except no one actually.
Will Jordan's getting divorced from some bloke happening in one house.
We'll set up a rival one. I'll go and I'll get into them. It'd be quite funny. That could be the thing that I know nothing about them. That could be the funny angle. But I always wanted to do that as a Spurs podcast where I always wanted to do a Spurs podcast called The Only Manx Spurs Fan. It'd be me ranting for an hour. It's a good angle, really, isn't it? Because people are always surprised.
Well, I did see someone in Stockport before in a Spurs shirt.
But he'll be from down south.
He's not a Northern Glory on him, is he?
Exactly. That's the reason why they're the team. No one can accuse me of that. If anything, I'm just putting myself through hell by selecting them. There's no punishment, isn't it? I deserve them for the things that I've done. Yeah, the guitar. I've never this song more than ever. There's just not an indie band for me. When you listen to all the other stuff around at the time, it's just nothing like it. It's way heavy, and that's why in just a few short. I mean, when was this? April 2007. In just a few months, in just a year, maybe they'll be heading out to the desert with Josh Homme because he heard something in them. If they were just indie, he wouldn't have heard that in them, but he's heard what we hear, which is that there's a rock band in there, really, and a hip hop band.
Which is again the Cookie influence.
The Cookie influence, man.
Black Sabbath and Queens of Stone Age and stuff.
Cookie is
not just the pretty face.
The driving. No, he's not even that now. But he's the driving. He's the Well, we've always said this. He's the driving force of the change, and the band have said it several times. Not just the Moog synthesizer, but I think Alex. I keep forgetting. I want to re-listen to know what it is. There was another time something to do with a set list and the songs for the tour where Jamie was the one that was like, "No, we've got to do it this way or whatever," and it turned out to be.
Well, it happens on the Live at the Royal Albert Hall album. During the encore, he says, "I've been threatened with my life during the intermission with regards to playing this next number."
I assume he means by Helder's there, though, right? Because I always assume because it's a Helder's led song.
I imagine it's Jamie. I think it's Jamie. I think Jamie's saying let's give him some from album number one.
You've said that before, and I always assumed it were Helder's you were talking about because it's a Helder's, what I would class as a Helder's tune. But then I can imagine, because Jamie and I'd say View from the Afternoon is the most sort of Queens of the Stone Age song on the first album, and that's what Jamie influence brought, and Black Sabbath.
Jamie's the vibe curator. He's the vibe curator. That's what he is.
You got a vibe facilitator. Ask anyone in Silicon Valley. He's basically the equivalent of he creates that. Those people that own those. What are they called? Those incubators in Silicon Valley, where someone has a load of basically computer nerds come and they'll work on different startups, and one of them will be a success, and the incubator guy gets a cut. It's a good idea, really. He's the incubator creator, isn't he? He gets them all in the right mood and suggestions, and then he's Alex's muse. Yeah,
that's a vibe curator, not to be confused with Ann Summers. That was a dildo joke.
We got it. Speaking of weird vibes,
leave that to hang.
But then that kind of the breakdown, which you'll hear. I'm only going to keep pointing out for this episode so that people know that that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to keep doing it. Don't
We'll all
worry, throughout those days,
subscribe by
so
next
I'm just
time
going to keep
anyway,
going.
so.
Yeah, if I'm going, just find every episode to keep going, and you'll hear it now. I'm not going to keep doing that. Don't worry, it'll just fade in. But yeah, the breakdown is that kind of. It just goes to another level for me, and actually, the guitar leading into the breakdown just before that, it does this kind of strumming that reminded me of Last Night by the Strokes. The Strokes kind of crept in a bit there.
Yes,
I felt
there's a
like
bit-
with
little bit of that, yeah.
and I'll play that now as well. See, bits like that, it's hard to describe what I mean. So it's good that we play a little bit. We said Mr. O'Malley, the first proper time. What a way to introduce himself. He's more like...
He's got on the go.
I mean...
It almost doesn't sound like a bass.
Well, I was going to say, I've got written in my notes here, he's more like a third guitarist than a bass player in this. I don't like... I mean, we praised Andy a lot, but really, this is another level, isn't it? We always said, like, oh, maybe if Andy had stayed, but this is just, like, insane, the bass in this. And seeing that clip live as well of him doing it, like, it looks so hard because it's, like, really just that on a bass as well.
Hurts.
Play a quick on a bass is difficult. Pretty difficult on a guitar if you shit like me, but, you know, playing on a bass is even harder. But yeah, I mean, what a way to introduce you. You've given all this, you're the new guy, and people are probably, there's already a lot of pressure on the second album, and people are probably like, oh, I wonder if it'll be good now they've changed bass player or whatever. And was anyone like that? Did anyone care, actually? I don't know. But bass players sometimes get hard stick off some people, don't they? So no one would have cared, really. If it, but I do think there's that element to it. But then you hear this bass and you're just like, I think that's why, I think this is why people and it sounds mean to say, but the reason why instantly people, I kind of have always assumed that Andy, they didn't mind the change or whatever, because when you heard this, you were like, ugh. And yeah, like you say, it's like, I've always been impressed with like Blink-182 make the bass use it as a guitar. And this is another example of that. Like you say, it just sounds like he's just adds, you would be hard pressed to know it's a bass. And he's somebody he carries on. Are You Mine very much has a similar use of the bass as well. But yeah, he's just imagine if this wasn't the first single. That'd be odd, wouldn't it? If they'd gone with like Teddy Picker or something as the first single. Yeah, Teddy Picker would have just felt like, oh, they're just doing more of that.
It'd have to be this, or if you were there, Beware would have also been a good candidate for lead single.
Yeah, if Flash Out Lesson wouldn't have been bad shout, I guess, because people love it. But it was more of a would have been better. Was better in the summer though, wasn't it? There's a release. Because it is a very summery song, as we'll get to. But yeah, and also considering usually the drums and the bass work as a pair, obviously they're a unit. They're the driving factor of the song. They're like the machine, aren't they? They're like the engine of the song, aren't they? Really, and then the other stuff's just the sexy stuff on top. But and we'll get to the drums. Oh, we'll get there. But he does well to match what the phenomenal Mr. Helders is doing in this track, doesn't he? Because when you think about having to do that pairing with what Helders is doing in this, because at times the drums change so much throughout the song, to be able to do the bass with that, and then also to make it sound like a third guitar is pretty impressive, I would say. Pretty impressive. Just be able to keep up with Helders in this track. Yeah, just great. But the breakdown is Nick's standout moment, though, right? Would you say? That's kind of, it's got to be, hasn't it? That kind of, apart from the opening or the breakdown, because that breakdown is like that bit. It doesn't even sound like the doesn't really even sound like bass, does it? So that's kind of a standout. Maybe the first standout breakdown from him on this album, but it certainly won't be the last standout breakdown from Mr. Nick O'Malley on this album.
Certainly
I've got one particular in mind, which I'd say is his best work on this album. His best work on this album isn't this, which is incredible when you think about that as a statement.
Bonkers.
Several. In fact, it'd be hard to say what is. We might be even talking about different things. But yeah, we'll see, I guess, when we go to it. But we've given everyone else their due. But much like the first track on the last album, this song, I think personally, belongs to Mr. Matthew J. Helders III, does it not? Everything else is great. Everything else is superb, actually. Everything else is fantastic. But really, ultimately, if you were gonna have to give it to one member of the band as a win, you got to give it to Helders, haven't you? Surely, like,
Fuck yeah.
and that's amazing because the bass is amazing, the guitar is incredible, Alex's singing is spot on. So it really does as a unit. It's perfect. Very rare, perfect song. I couldn't pinpoint anything in it that would be, any no notes for this one for any of them. But,
Good of you. Well, the first album starts with one of Helder's best ever performances, and the second album starts with the very same.
yeah, probably it'd be hard to say which one was better actually as a performance. I think potentially this one maybe, but I don't know. And this actually comes back from the story that he tells that in between the two albums he'd seen Queens of the Stone Age live at the side of the stage, and he'd seen their drummer, he is a ferocious drummer, massive, and he was hitting the drums, and Helder was like, I need to start hitting the drums harder. I need to do more, which is incredible considering how good the drums are on the first album, that he was like, right, I need to up my gear now. And yeah, so he not only, I guess, he already had that kind of originality in his drums, trying to come up with new bits, but also hip hop elements. But then he just started absolutely battering them more, which was it really. But straight from the off with this one, he's going hell for leather, isn't he? Hell for leather.
No messing. Hell for leather
drum skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very David Brent and for a second.
You've got
Winners.
this. You've got this like bang you're in sound. It's just like that. He's just absolutely going for it. But then when the Arctic-esque riff, the doom, 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 he just completely switches it back into pure hip hop. So it's just like this absolutely rock drums, and then it just becomes the full hip hop, that signature Helder sound that we've become so accustomed to. But as it said on the Guitar Hero thing with the tom beats, sporadic tom beats, definitely his hi-hat use. It's all incredible. That second instrumental bit after the first chorus, before the second verse. So they've done the first verse, and then for the second verse, it's fucking mental what he's doing there when you listen to it instrumentally. He's just like, just hitting all the drums. And
No,
I don't know what
doing
he's
that.
doing. No. There's only, I mean, there's a song on the next album where I think he's just as mental, but other than that, this might be one of his mentalists, like drum. Yeah, just insane. But it just goes to show. I mean, that's why I do feel so. You know, when people say they miss Helders on this newer stuff, and I do get that, even though I don't think, you know, but I do know what they mean. But you know, this stuff isn't going anywhere. We still got this to listen to. They still play it live, so you're going to hear it live. But I know what you mean. It would be cool, I guess, to hear. But you do, I think, a lot of like Body Paint and stuff like that. But I think, yeah, well, obviously it would be cool for them to do another rock album and get the Helders back out, get the full Helders treatment. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they are getting a bit older now, guys. Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Nobody. I never thought I'd have to push when I was in my 20s.
Seems to take forever these days.
Yeah, it just shows his talent, because in a song that could be taken over by that it's got this new guitar sound. It's got this new kind of perfected Alex vocal performance. It's got this incredible new bass player doing this stuff, and yet he still manages to win the song, even despite all that going on. It just says a lot about what he was doing. Again, I love the breakdown. What he's doing in that, he's just like enhances the song so much with the and when it's just him playing and Alex singing, like he carries that bit so well, because you rarely get that a lot, do you? But it's just Alex singing and him just doing the
He's playing the guitar riff with his drums, which I love.
Yes, you don't get that a lot, do you? I suppose, no. Especially in like that way where they went like, I mean, again, as a band's decision as well to go, right, we're gonna, for that bit, we're just gonna strip everything else and just have Helders doing the riff on the drums with Alex singing. Yeah, very good production, and something I could attribute to Mr. James Ford, I'm sure, as well, as part of that decision-making process. As another drummer, from one drummer to another. Drummer, mother drummer.
Drummer from another mother.
Drummer
from another mother.
Drummer mother from a drummer's mother's drummer's drummer.
You're right.
No. The outro to this song, though, to go off Elders just on all fronts, is amazing. Like the way it's the same as the intro, but somehow it feels bigger and like an outro. I'm not sure if there's actually any changes to it, unless it's just more intense. But it's the exact same as the opening, but it does build to a kind of that kind of close, and it's got a bit when you hear it and you kind of you're like ah.
and we get another one of those it's almost a bit of a trademark at this point. It's not finished, it's finished. One of those.
Another one. They love that. I think what is funny is the way they bookend it with the same part is that you kind of just like thrown into the song with the intro. It's just like that, and then you kind of just thrown out of it at the end with the way it just builds, because it builds into like really exciting and it stops. Yeah, it's honestly. Now when I hear it and it's getting towards that end bit, it's just really exciting, and especially what a great live tune as well, isn't it? That's the kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely.
One of their best.
One of their best. Again, I've said it so many times. As much as I love everything about this song so much, without a drummer like Helders, it would just not even be close to what it is. Or without any, like when people say, "Oh, Alex, just Alex," it's like without you take Nick's work out of this, take Jamie's work out of this song, you take Helder's work out of this song and put in some subpar performers, you would not have what is one of their best songs, I would say. Probably
absolutely
one of the most iconic, certainly. But yeah, that's all I have to say on what is an incredibly sound.
Because of my awesome multitasking, we can have a listen to the demo version of Brianstorm if you like.
Oh, we can actually listen to it now. No,
listen to it now.
Oh, go on then.
Someone to kick you. That's fine, and you couldn't slip through. Or at least that's the impression I get. 'Cause you're smooth and you wet, and she's not aware yet, but she's yours. She'll be saying, use me. Show me the jacuzzi. I imagine that it's there on a plate or a rendezvous lady. So you'll never be frightened to make them wait for a while. I doubt it's your style not to get what you said. To acquire the eyes are on fire.
Magnificent.
I got such a flashback to 2007 then, because I used to listen to these a lot on my iPod, and it keeps and Alex goes Julio in the middle of it, and then at the end Elvis goes Arriba.
Well, before we move on to the lyrics, should we talk about who Brian is?
Well, I was just going to say, I was going to read a quote about that, but I was just going to say about the demo. What I like about that is you can hear in the demos more of the intrinsic parts, so you can hear a lot more what Elders is doing, and it's always cool to hear that, because produced tracks sometimes little elements get lost, don't they? In there, so yeah. So Brian. So there was a quote I had here.
Oh, have you got the same quote as me? Because I was so excited to read part of this out.
Oh, go on then, you do it then. Is it from Enemy?
Oh, yes, yeah. Is it quotes from Alex and Jamie?
Yes.
Yes.
You go on. You have it.
I've got. Right. So he's inspired by a real person who met the band in their dressing room after a gig in Osaka, Japan. Needless to say, he was a real character and left a lasting impression, so much that they started writing a brainstorm about Brian, hence Brianstorm, which makes the title a pun. Thanks, Enemy. We know what a pun is. As Enemy reports, frontman Alex Turner previously revealed, when he left the room, we were a bit freaked out by his presence, so we did a brainstorm for what he was like, drew a little picture, and wrote things about him. He was right weird. Added guitarist Jamie Cook. I love that. He just appeared with like a business card and a round neck t-shirt and a tie loosely around it. I'd never seen that before. It felt like he was trying to get inside your mind. We were checking out his attire. It freaked us out. He added, it definitely left a mark on us. He might have been a magician. He might even be here now. But if we ever find out who he was, it might spoil it. The most we've got from Jamie there. Jamie just really opening up there and telling us everything. Love it.
A slight little extra bit of that at the start that I found as well, where Alex says, I can't remember Brian now. I don't know if we were in my imagination or what. It's a blank spot in my brain. I think that's what Brian wanted, which is a very Alex answer. And then Jamie just comes in and just blows it all and says exactly what. And also when Jamie says he was very smooth, he says very LA, which is ironic.
Yeah,
but isn't it ironic? But yeah, that's the kind of that's all this song is about, really, isn't it? Is this fella that walks into the dressing room and does it? There's not much like so he said he might have been a magician. He might even be here now, but if we ever find out who he was, it might spoil it. So I assume they never really found out who he was. Oh, Brian.
Best way with
Brian knows who he is. Do you reckon he would have come forward to get money if he'd heard the song and known, right, that it was him they were talking about?
I mean, if he's walking around in like 2006 wearing a t-shirt and a tie, I'd say he doesn't know who he is. Fucking idiot. Who'd do that?
I seem to remember somebody loved that look, wasn't it?
Yeah. This is pre-Brianstorm though that I was rocking that look.
Well, it was a common look, wasn't it, at the time? T-shirt and
it
tie.
was a common look.
Top man indie club look, wasn't it? I think it did come over from America. I seem to remember like people on the OC wearing it, and it kind of came back.
Pete Doherty did a bit of it as well. So like all my fashion choices of that time, it was bound to come to me.
Yeah, you were rocking Pete Doherty's look, and I was doing the chain and the jumper like Alex. That was that was kind of looks, yeah. But well, we do have a picture of that, and we'll put it out. I'll be putting it out on socials before this episode airs to kind of entice you all in. For everyone, actually, with your permission. I assume you sent it me with that purpose. But yeah,
we expected it, yeah. I mean, I expected at some point between us recording this and us releasing it that you were going to message me and say, "Oh, do you happen to have a picture of you with it?" So I just thought I'd get it out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. If I can find one of me wearing the chain, I will on Facebook. You don't love me now, never love me again. Actually, initially, before research on what this was about at the time, which would have been pretty quick, to be fair, that we would have found that out. But very early on when we first heard it, I just thought it was about a player, like the first album is. I think I just thought, like, I think in a way, I just assumed it fits as just about a guy who's in a club and is smooth with the ladies. Which I suppose in many ways that Brian guy is that guy. So
it's almost a friendlier version of the Scummy Man. You could just from looking at those, you could think, it's almost like the Scummy Man before he became properly scummy.
Yeah,
He was good. He was
Yeah.
good with the ladies. He was fashionable, and then he
The
went
LA
down
version
the
of the
road.
Scummy Man, not the Sheffield
Yeah.
version. Not Stephen Graham, the Brad Pitt version of the Scummy Man.
Yeah.
The Caprio
Yeah.
version of Scummy Man. I think what you will about DiCaprio.
I was imagining James Franco, weirdly.
Yeah, but he is an actual Scummy Man now.
Yeah, oh shit, yeah. I forgot about that.
Close to the bone. Certainly must be his victim. There is a B-side in this era specifically about that though. That does follow very much in the first album vein. One of my favorites actually, but more on that later. Is singing is that snarky first album that we've grown to love still, isn't it? Still that snarky singer, but it is different. I think it is maturer, softer. You know, it's like rock star swag snark rather than teenage kebab shop snark. He's now famous. He's now a famous rock star, so it's different. His commentating's more from the perspective of a rock star than your man on the street, I'd say, and it comes across in his voice. I think personally, and that will come across in the next track as well, quite a lot. I think, yeah,
Just a bit.
yeah. Not many rock songs open with Brian, do they? Or any? No, first, and then to rhyme it with trying. By the way, that's a Holt thumbs up from me.
It's a thumbs up for me as well. That's two thumbs up. I'm doing the Paul McCartney thumbs up here.
It's 2 thumbs up for that. Yeah, to rhyme it with trying.
Which is better than two thumbs up from us. Is better than 3 out of 5 from the Skinny, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, those cunts. Bottom of the barrel. I'm not getting from them. I actually after that. I could admit if it was a divisive song, but it's just a good song. But yeah, to rhyme Brian with trying is very much something that only Alex could get away with. I think it's one of those ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that he on the first album. Very, very witty song. Although there's not much meat on the bones for us to discuss because we know what it's about and it's pretty straightforward. It's just about this geezer, but very, very witty, like the first album. Straightforward, not much to dissect, but it's the old Turner witticisms here. The Turner of phrase, as it was dubbed.
Turner of phrase
by me. But yeah, I do think though, to be fair though, like so kind of you to bless us with your effortlessness. We're grateful and so strangely comforted. Calm, collected, and commanding. Top marks for not trying. You leave the other story standing with your renditions and jokes, but there's hundreds of blokes that have wept because you've stolen their thunder.
Right. Thunder.
Yeah, I mean that is just so many witty lines in that and rhymes that you.
Brian's. We've met a few Brian's, haven't we? We've seen a few Brian's. You know, when you're out clubbing and stuff like that, there's a few Brian's there, isn't there? Just
I don't know if I'm trying to think if I never.
Well, maybe it's one of them where if you don't know who the Brian that you've met is, maybe you're the Brian.
It's not Jay from the In-Betweeners. I don't know what.
Blown it wide open, guys.
I don't think I'm trying to think if I've ever met a Brian. Yeah.
Oh, there's always Brian's.
I don't think I've met a Brian. I don't think I've had I don't think I've had a conversation with a Brian.
There's always a fucking Brian.
I don't know. Yeah, but it's past our age group, isn't it? Brian was a name. Nobody gets named Brian in like.
Oh no, I don't mean Brian by
80s.
person. I mean personality, not the name.
Hey.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, do you mean the guy in the song? You didn't really
yeah.
clarify that. You just said, "Have we met any Brian?" So I assume you meant the name. Obviously, I didn't mean.
No, given that we were
character.
talking about, given that you just mentioned the bet there's hundreds of blokes that have wept because you've stolen the thunder. I thought that was clear.
Well, what you should have said was we've met characters. What you should have said, we've met characters like Brian, shouldn't you?
Well, I didn't say it, did I, Dan?
That's the Queen's way of saying it, or the King's way of saying it. Coronation will have
Get
happened.
over it.
Well, King's coronation will. Coronation will.
That's probably more likely to now. To be fair.
Coronation
accessible.
But yeah,
seems Frankie Boyle's hosting the podcast.
Yeah, God, I've met loads of people like this. Yeah, loads of like people that think they're slick and yeah.
You know, that thing of like seeing a girl on the dance floor.
I might have been one. You're right. You were right with that.
Album one.
Yeah, it's brought us back to this.
We're back on album one, but you see a girl on the dance floor and make a mental note like, right, that's who I'm going to try and charm. Then you go off to get a drink and you come back and Brian will be there.
I'm trying to make that sound less creepy, but it was fairly creepy the first time you said it last series, and it's still creepy now. Sort of you
charm.
Yeah, but in 2005 when you're 18, it's charm a woman, but now it comes across as target a woman.
Don't worry, Dan. No one's putting Rage Against the Machine on. So your jumping days are over. It's fine.
I admit it, but you try and play the hopeless romantic. Well, I'm just saying you're still a creep.
I'm hopeless.
Would you? Yeah, I definitely met quite a few characters of Brian's, and I haven't liked any of them. I might have been one maybe at some point. Who knows? But maybe I don't think I was as slick. I think I was just played the numbers game and got lucky. Maybe Brian did. Who knows? But the t-shirt and ties combination, you were a big fan of that, and you had it on many occasions, as I recall. That was your kind of go-to with a trilby there as well. To be fair, there was the addition of the trilby.
Facebook before that was a depressing afternoon. Not doing that again.
You did suggest that we wear it for this, but I couldn't be bothered trying to find a tie, to be honest, in the cupboard.
No, same. I would have had to ask my dad. I would have said, "Dad, can I borrow a tie?" He's like, "What? You're just doing your podcast, aren't you?" And then I'd have to explain.
That'll be a whole ordeal.
I can be asked having.
It's a whole afternoon.
And then you'd hear my mum from the other room going, "He wants what? He's doing what?" I was like, "It's not worth it. Not worth it."
Plus, it was supposed to be like a skinny tie, wasn't it? That was the goal. It was one of those skinny tees that were around at the time.
I don't think my dad owns a skinny tie.
Don't think your dad owns a skinny tee.
He's never a mod. So.
No. But yeah, with those lyrics, there is still a kind of we said about bringing up the first album, but there is like a kind of a youthfulness charm to some of those lyrics, still, isn't there? There's still that kind of I always think it's still quite like someone to kiss, someone to kick you. There's not a net you couldn't slip through, or at least that's the impression I get, because you're smooth when you're wet, and she's not aware yet, but she's yours. She'll be saying, "Use me, show me the jacuzzi." That's very like a bit silly at times, but in a charming way, a youthfully charming way. Like that's just just a very, say jacuzzi just seems very childish, but like that's just something they mused on saying. Like they were like, "Oh, I bet he'd say, use me, show me the jacuzzi."
I mean, rhyming "use me" with jacuzzi again is just peak Alex.
Yeah, no one else get away with that. Or would do it, to be fair. But also like "See You Later, Innovator."
Not "See You Later, Elevator," as I've heard people singing.
I think I used to think it was something else when it first came out, but I can't remember what I thought it was, and it wasn't until I saw it written down that I was like, "Oh, it's Innovator." I think I did think it was Elevator at the time. Perhaps I was trying to think what it was, and that might have been it. I might have been thought that he was like saying that he, "See you later, Elevator." He'd be the guy that elevates you up.
The last time I saw them on the AM tour was the last time I saw them live, and the girl behind me sang. Well, the girl behind me who sat down for the whole gig.
Ugh,
pretty
God.
much. Apart from for dance floor, and then she got up for that and just complained at me for dancing, kept telling me to sit down. I was like, "No, fuck off." But she loudly sang "See You Later, Elevator," and I just died inside. That was early in the set as well. Where'd you go from that?
Yeah, it's like second song in. Yeah. Terrible.
What a bunch of bastards.
People. But yeah, there's not much really to dig into the lyrics, is there? Because they're very straightforward, they're very witty, they're very youthful, kind of a little tiny hangover from the first album in terms of straightforwardness. I think the next one gets a bit more metaphorical soon. A lot more to unpack there. This is just some quite straightforward, funny little story. Character that they met. Lyrics.
Song with a story. Carl Pilkington.
Song with a story. But the lyric for very few Arctic Monkey songs that I would say this about, but the lyrics are kind of surplus to requirements anyway, because it's such a belter of a song musically. You don't get that a lot.
I think the music stands out more than the lyrics with this one. Absolutely.
Yeah, which doesn't happen loads. Should we discuss the video though? Remember the video?
Yes.
So,
do you want to play a clip and then talk about it, or do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, go on, play a clip.
Oh,
we went the other way. We went the other way with that.
This will be. I mean, for the audio listeners, you're getting the second half of Brianstorm to add to the first half that we played at the top of the show, and for video listeners, you're getting a bit of the video. So everyone's happy, apart from me, but that's a me issue.
Standing with your renditions and jokes, bet there's hundreds of blokes
Great video, overlooked video in their catalog, I'd say. But the music video for the song, directed by Hughes Monferradi, who also directed the dance floor video. Yeah, and has a lot of under his credits, including Eric Prittis' "Call on Me" video, which I'm sure you remember fondly.
Well done.
Yeah,
Teenage Nick, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. It features the band playing in a sparse sepia set interspersed with clips of female dancers in front of a large computerized
I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry to interrupt you, mate, but I cannot. But that's blown my mind that it was directed by the same guy who did the Eric Fridge video. That's
Yeah, he's done lots of music videos and lots of music live performances of bands and stuff as well. If you go on his website,
do you reckon Cookie was a big fan of the Eric Fridge video? He's like, we've got to get that guy in. Unless I'm going with Andy. If you don't get that guy in,
well, it's interesting. For the first single on both the albums, they got him in to do what is essentially a similar video, but both performances of them playing with, but it's very different as well. Kind of a mix of "Call on Me" and the dance floor video. Actually, now I think about it, these two videos,
but almost taking it's almost a pastiche of the "Call on Me" type thing. It's almost mocking style of video.
Well, it also includes stock footage from old medical educational programs and brief flashes of images of objects mentioned in the lyrics, such as Brian, jacuzzi, lightning, and In Place of Thunder. And the video was recorded on the 14th of February 2007, so Valentine's Day. The same day as the 2007 Brit Awards, leading to them missing the ceremony and instead sending 2 video acceptance speeches where they dressed as Wizard of Oz characters and the Village People. The video premiered on MTV2 on 17th of March 2007. So that's why they did that, because they were filming the Brianstorm video on the day of the Brits.
Oh,
so there you go.
Do you reckon they had the costumes for this video? And then decided against it in the end. I thought, well, I better use them. We've got them until 5 o'clock, so we might as well use them.
If you want to know the truth, I don't believe that this video was being filmed long into the evening, and they could have easily have done both, but they chose not to, if I'm being honest. Yep. But I do love the whole kind of like it's like a kind of Beyonce. She's got a lot of references today. Beyonce video element to it. Like, so it's like, yeah, it's like not a song that's befitting of that, but it's got a hip hop video, isn't it, with the dancers and that, but it's them playing it. They're very much taking the piss, as they usually do with these kind of things.
Not the most out of place extra in a music video. That goes to the woman in the PVC dress in the Black Treacle video, which is just weird. Where does that come from? There's just
Alex's imagination. That's where it comes from. The B-roll stuff though in this, the little intercuts, just give me like Clockwork Orange vibes as well. Though when his eyes are peeled open. Funny kind of. I remember at the time finding it amusing that they decided to take the piss out of kind of hip hop videos, which they do again. They take the piss out of hip hop videos again in a different album era. I don't know, very funnily as well. But yeah, should we do our favourite lyrics?
Let's do that. Same old jingle for this one. Just wait until we get onto the favourite musical moment now.
Ooh.
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
Mine is calm, collected, and commanded. Top marks for not trying. You leave the other story standing with your additions and jokes. Bet there's hundreds of blokes that have wept because you've stolen their thunder. I've always loved the blokes being in there, rhyming jokes, blokes. Just like, it's just so British for him in this song to crack out blokes, but there's hundreds of blokes.
Not only British, but Northern, I'd say as well.
Northern, yeah. I wasn't expecting it. I remember the first time that he would just say blokes in the middle of the song there.
Imagine they'd been from London and he'd said, if it was from London, he would have said, bet there's hundreds of geezers. I think. And we don't want that, do we?
We don't want that at all. No, would have been angry. There's a lot about them that wouldn't have been good if they're from London, though. Mainly the entire first album, so we would have had to worry about it.
Literally everything. Yeah. Mine is probably. I can't look past "Use Me, Show Me the Jacuzzi." I didn't expect to hear the word jacuzzi in.
No, but blokes and jacuzzi are two jarring words in the song that you weren't expecting to hear with this new sexy sound. New, like, it's like a rock song, and then they just ferocious and they just throw blokes and jacuzzi at you in a short space of time. Yeah, very much so. I'm Brian, to be fair.
Probably the best combination of blokes and jacuzzi since that scene in Knowing Me, Knowing You. think, where Partridge ends up in the jacuzzi with the dancers.
Well, because you've got to think
Man.
about the fact that when we first heard Brian, we had no context for that as well. So Brian being in there, although not the most jarring use of a name on this album, I have a different one that I'm always like, what? But we'll get to that.
Is it Dorothy?
No, because I get that reference. That reference makes sense. Obviously,
Yeah, I thought you would. Yeah.
There's one that throws me. We'll get to that in a few weeks, though. But yeah, go on, show me the new sexy favorite musical moment jingle.
Let's do it.
Might sound in your ear that make you get up and down.
Oh, that was nice. That was very nice.
I'll tell you what, I've earned my 15 quid today.
Well, mine is someone else that earned their 15 quid that day. Matt Helder's All the Drums on this song is what my favorite musical moment is. They're just all incredible.
I mean, the drums is the answer, but I'm going to say the bass just because of how it goes along with the drums. Because if the drums weren't as good as they were, then it'd be the bass that was the best. But you're not topping that. But he's not far off Mr. O'Malley here. I think it's fantastic. I love the effects on his bass. I love that whole thing. I think that's why I like quite like Royal Blood, Death from Above 1979. Both bands that don't have a guitarist, they just have a bass almost being deployed as a guitar. I'm really into that. So I think that's why I'm so into what Nick's doing on this track.
Yeah, he's not far behind, and as an introduction, it's amazing as well. And we'll roll him out. Well, he's going to get his due as the weeks go on. He's going to get more of his due anyway. So
we've not even started on you yet, Mr. O'Malley.
No, you just wait. But yeah, no, I love it. What a way to open an album and a series.
I know. Where'd you go from here? Well, tell us, where do we go from here, Dan?
Well, the thing... Oops, sorry. I nearly told the punchline before I told the joke there. You love next week's track, Nick. You're absolutely gagging for it. And I can guarantee you won't be getting bent over. Yes, if you thought that it couldn't get much catchier than the hook of a dance floor classic, a searing Still Take You Home, or the riff of the scummiest of scummy men, then you better prepare to be blown away by next week's snarky satire of the celebrity culture filled with 80s references, arcade machines, and more hip-hop drums than you could shake a drumstick at. Yes, of course, it's Teddy Picker.
Right, thank you for tuning in. This just about concludes our look at track 1, side 1, because we're going vinyl language. From Favourite Worst Nightmare, the band's second album, that was Brianstorm. We'll be back next week with Teddy Picker, as Dan just said then. Say goodbye to the nice people, Dan.
Goodbye.
Bye. Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Nick Lee and Dan Holt. Music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. And if you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We will see you next week with more of the same.